My fellow investors, I want to go over what I added to my portfolio this week. So I bought this on Friday after the tariff talks, most recent tariff talks, which now have been blocked and they are deemed unlawful. So looks like those are going to be rolled back. I knew this was going to be a temporary thing, but I mean, who would have guessed it would be this temporary? But that's great. I have always thought, this whole time that this was market manipulation. How many thought it's just market manipulation? Yeah, we have these trade talks and the markets drop. I just buy in. I'm just following the money. Now, speaking about, tariffs, even though it's on hold, I kind of want to go over a few things. I've heard people say, software companies like Palantir are not immune to tariffs. I think that's not 100% correct. You'll notice on Friday when almost everything was down, Palantir stock actually rose 0.83%. So I don't think that, they're affected 100% like, say, an offshore automobile parts manufacturer would be impacted by tariffs. There could be, hardware costs, like hardware infrastructure costs. A very small percentage, of their revenue may be affected by that, or vendors. So there are some things that can affect them through tariffs, but largely, I think these software companies, they do really well under those conditions, just for future reference. Now, I don't think it's 100% immune, but I don't think it's zero either. I think it's a very small percentage. And, there's no tariffs on Bitcoin. What I want to go over is basically the 4 things that I added to my portfolio Friday. So I had 2 assets for growth, and I did this 50-50, 2 assets for income. So let's cover growth first. So I bought some IBIT. I think spot Bitcoin ETFs are a really good idea. If you're not sure what to buy, you may feel like, well, I don't know what I'm really deficient in my portfolio. It's always just a no-brainer to buy Bitcoin. Have you been following the Bitcoin conference? We could see, how there's some tailwinds with Bitcoin, with the current administration, politicians getting behind it. All these, Bitcoin miners that are producing new Bitcoin, it's going to the Bitcoin OTC desks. So what that's for is basically for institutions and high net worth individuals. And we could see that, all this Bitcoin that's being mined, it's not really for retail. It's for these OTC clients. And, we're just small fish. Retail investors like me and you, we're just taking drops from the bucket, right? But most of this money, this Bitcoin OTC desk, they're servicing these large clients that have, millions or billions of dollars to spend on Bitcoin. So that's where, all this new Bitcoin is going to. You hear talks about the US wanting to grow their reserve, and, the rest of the world would follow them. But, they've been talking about it for so long. It's like, you should have bought it yesterday. You waited too long. Bitcoin is getting so scarce, guys. It is getting so scarce. And, there's just not enough to go around. And you look at all these, corporations, it seems like every week there's a new player, and they're just buying up, and they have plans, well, we want to buy $1 billion of Bitcoin. We want to buy, 1 million Bitcoin in the next 5 years. It's like there's not enough for everybody. And the corporations are winning out. These countries, these central banks, they've had all this time to buy, and it's like there's no time left. In the next 5 years, People are going to be scraping and clawing for what's either being sold by longtime holders or what's being mined. And like basically the liquid Bitcoin that's out there, it's just going to be gone in 5, it may even be 3 years. Like it is getting so scarce. So you gotta buy now. I know it's not much, us retail investors, we're a very small percentage of the market, but you gotta buy now because like it is just getting to the point where it's going to be very difficult to get your hands on it, in just a few years from now. I also bought DFDV. I don't think I need to really go over that. That's the Solana treasury. And I just felt like with my growth, I could, diversify a little bit, some into Bitcoin, some into Solana. I've made 3 videos in the past 2 weeks. If you want to go check on those videos and get more details about DFDV, you can do that. So my income funds, I bought TSW. This is from Reuters. They say Tesla will now target June the 12th. We knew it was sometime early June. June the 12th, it will launch robo-taxi service in Austin, Texas. Shout out to Austin. And hopefully that goes well in that city, and then they're able to roll it out into new markets. So some nice tailwinds for Tesla. I think TSW is going to do really well. I want to go over this again with the Roundhill weeklies and be clear about this. I think the Roundhill weeklies are for normal bullish markets, and you want total returns with weekly distributions, okay? I'm not saying the distributions are going to be bigger. And as a matter of fact, it appears by looking at and comparing, most of the options funds that are out there to the Roundhill weeklies that exist now, like, PLTW and TSW, the options funds will actually have higher yields and bigger distributions. So I want to be clear about that. I'm not saying they're going to have bigger distributions. This is for total returns. And yes, I think it's important. I want to grow my net worth, not just my income. So that's why I'm going heavy and stacking TSW now before the bots and the robo-taxis hit all the markets. And I went with MSTY. That was my other income fund that I bought into. Yeah, I don't dislike MSTY. I still love the fund, and I think it's going to do great. If someone got that idea because I said I wanted to buy the Roundhill MicroStrategy fund, no, that's not what I'm saying. I think there's a place still for MSTY. Like I said, I don't plan on selling it, and I think the distributions are going to be great with this fund going forward. It's just not for total returns. That's all. I just think that under normal bullish circumstances and conditions, MSTW, the Roundhill fund, will do better in total returns. And there's other options now. It's not just MSTY, but that's good. So there's others that if you just want big distributions and you just want yield and to hell with total returns, there's other players out there now. So there's other options you could look at. As a matter of fact, I think the other ones have edged them out slightly, MSTY, in yield this last month. So something to look at if that's what you're interested in. I want to go over NVIDIA real quick. We just heard that they beat earnings, but what I wanted to go over was, the gaming division, like the OG business model of NVIDIA. This is what really stood out to me. So it says the chips for 3D games grew 42% year over year to 3.8 billion. Automotive and robotics division reported a sales growth of 72% year over year. So yeah, not even talking about the AI, and data centers. So that kind of stuck out to me. We don't always think about that aspect of NVIDIA. We always think about just their AI chips that are going to data centers. But as we can see, they're doing well in all those sectors. So that's good to see. Did you buy in before earnings? I didn't buy Friday, but I did kind of build up my bag of NVIDIA and NVW over the past month. So I think I'm doing okay. Did I buy enough? I never think I buy enough. So anyway, guys, buy the dip.